Welcome to the Mechanical Room. A Centrotherm production focusing on all things in and around the HVAC industry. And now, your hosts, Michael Sakaris and Matthew Price.
Who's this dude?
I don't know. How did I get involved in this?
I don't know.
Welcome to the September episode of the Mechanical Room. We've got a third beautiful face in the mix right here. You know, it's serious business because Sakaris has lost the jacket. It's sweltering here. There's a lot of body heat emanating here.
Yes.
So we have the one, the only Daniel Smith with us live and direct from Calgary, in town for some sales meetings and joining us on the podcast because we bring in another Canadian in on the guest segment here. So Dan, welcome to the Mechanical Room. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Matt. Great to be here. It's been a while since I've been down in New York, so good to see both of you.
We're happy to have you here. This is a first, I think, in the mechanical world.
Well, we had Erica sit with us.
We did.
So we had
second dance.
So we've had some guests randomly pop in. We had your son do the gritty dance live on the air.
That's true. That's true. That's right.
So we've had a few people pop through. We've had Alex RIP come through and do some dancing and whatnot here. We've had Kara. We did the Christmas segments that had game show elements to them.
I stand corrected. There's been a lot.
There's been a few, but this is really the first time we've had an official guest host. So is there any wisdom you'd like to impart to the dozens and dozens of people who watch this?
Thousands.
Wisdom? Yeah. You're asking me for wisdom.
Yeah, you got wisdom.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a pretty damn good one.
That's
when you have a Crown Royal, have it with ice.
Yeah, universal truths right here.
Yes. And Coke.
Coke, yeah.
Coke.
Yeah.
Crown Coke.
I was down here this summer, in the good old US of A, and I discovered Jack Daniels and Coke, and I thought that was a pretty decent.
You never had a Jack and Coke?
Well, I had it when I was young and foolish and cute, and so now I got more refined taste, and it was pretty good.
Is it like an American thing? Because it's...
Well, Jack and Coke to me is kind of like a starter cocktail, right? It's like one of the first ones you have. I feel like Jack and Coke might have been like maybe the first drink I ever had when I was 24, 25 years old.
It wasn't Ouzo?
No, it was not. It wasn't Sambuca either.
It was Sturgis. You got 3 ounces for the price of 2.
Yeah.
My neighbor and I had a couple. It started off quite well.
I really do feel as though that was so obviously. I think back to my youth, my misspent youth, worshiping Slash, let's say.
It's a good person to worship.
Yeah, in some respects, but Jack Daniels was a big part of his persona.
That is true.
And so Jack and Coke and Jack Daniels in general, and also Frank Sinatra.
Mine was
Jack Daniels
as
well.
There was a specialty blend, wasn't there? Like a Sinatra blend.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mine was growing up. I grew up in Winnipeg, 60 miles away from where they made Crown Royal. Maybe we.
Is that where the factory
north in Gimli, Manitoba. That's where I started originating from, and I might know some people that might have stolen a barrel and made some hooch over the summer. Might have done.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You mean they climbed the fence and then took a barrel and then?
I'm not admitting anything.
Oh, all right, fair enough. Well, that never happened, but that's kind of cool.
Never happened, but it is cool.
If someone was to do that.
If someone was to do it, oh yeah. Then you switch a little bit of water on the bottom of it and let it ferment all summer, and you have one hell of a party.
An extended barrel.
And you have a pretty good party at the end of the summer.
Okay. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. My father-in-law is a devoted Crown fan, which by extension makes me a Crown supporter as well. So visiting the and potentially absconding with some of the merchandise up there is a very enticing story.
You're 18 and you're doing a covert mission.
Are we doing an episode on Crown, or who do we have on the guests list this round?
A man who's probably no stranger to Crown Royal.
I think he may not be.
So we have the legendary Curt Pickering from Pacific Clean Air as our guest. And man, he's got quite a few stories to tell. Just the bio he sent me has some really interesting stuff. It is our first guest with an IMDb credit to his name.
I think it's our very first distributor guest too, I think. So a lot of firsts in this episode.
Is it our first? We had our friend from the ASA on, but that's Supply Association.
That's not a distributor.
And did you watch the trailer of his movie?
I did.
It's actually good. I want to watch it.
Yeah, well, it's available. I can show you how to stream it.
Yeah.
It's available online.
Okay,
So-
awesome. I'm going to watch it because I thought the trailer was pretty good.
I feel as though he wasn't sure if it was available online. He like challenged me to find it, and I found it like very quickly. So I mean, this is a movie that exists. Like it's a real thing. Like he did it.
Looks
It's
pretty good.
fantastic, and he's got that credit out there. And
Yeah.
you know, and obviously he moved on to other things. I wasn't say bigger or better things, but different things. And
Starting, you know, he owns his own distributorship.
Yeah,
he should-
30 years.
I hope
3
his
years.
business card says executive producer of a wholesale distribution.
Oh, that would be very cool.
chain.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
do
cool.
that.
That would be
It's
good.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're a director of sales, so
Ah,
you know,
yeah.
He could
that's
be the
different.
executive producer of a distributor.
and he's the best boy.
Okay.
Well, that's
I'm not sure where that's going.
I
All
don't
right, so
either.
all right,
No, me neither.
so that's a joke that Curt would get.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
that's a film production role,
Okay.
right?
Ah,
Like the
okay.
key grip. You got your kung fu grip over there, right? That's a whole other story. Oh my goodness gracious!
I had one of those.
So did I. Did you
G.I.
have
Joe,
one?
the Kung Fu
Kung Fu
grip.
grip?
I had the fuzzy hair,
Yeah.
the fuzzy beard.
Yeah,
I had one
It's
of
funny,
those.
G.I. Joe. We're going to talk about Barbie in the interview, so we're covering a lot of ground.
We are.
We're literally it's like 6 days up Mount Kilimanjaro and back.
That's
in
right.
this,
That's
in this
right.
episode of the podcast. So this is your first time on here, although you sat in the seat before.
Yeah, I've sat in the seat.
We had a good time with the. I wish I had more time to do some of those.
We should put some of those bloopers.
Yeah.
No.
They're,
Watch it at the end. We may throw a blooper.
Well,
or
I
two
have
in
so
there.
much Dan Smith content. I don't even know what to tell you. I mean,
I'm
you
the
know,
gift just keeps giving.
you're
giving.
not shy.
I'm a giver.
You're funny. I use that clip of you dancing in the Bahamas at every turn. It is on the TV screen out in the on the other side of this wall. So absolutely, it is out there.
Will the Fritter be making an appearance this week?
Well, the Fritter made an appearance in the Monday message that went out today.
Yes, it did. Yes, it
And
did.
also the Fritter will be appearing in my presentation later this week.
Oh, nice.
So photos of you are out
And you
there.
know what? I'm bringing donuts tomorrow to the new building. I may throw in some fritters
You should throw some Fritter.
if I can find them.
So-
Mind you, next time you're in Vancouver, we will be going for this Fritter.
Those-
You will go.
Donut Love.
Nah.
You know that they shared that photo of you, by the way, that video of you. So
did?
the Donut Love, they shared.
Yeah.
CNN showed it. You were on
CNN.
CNN.
You're
Me and Donald.
Fox,
Newsmax,
one of the two.
One America News. You were on
CNN,
you were,
MSNBC.
Trudeau's closed circuit, video screens in I don't know, I guess Ottawa is where
That's
you're
why it
going.
was so well received when I was coming into the country
Yes, it
last
is.
night.
No, but
Nice,
seriously, I on that video of you eating that fritter, which is some of my favorite content on the internet this year, I tagged the Donut Love company, their Instagram, and then they shared it to their 12,000 followers out there.
Very
So
nice.
everybody in the Canadian donut eating world is now familiar with you, or at least
Celebrity.
It's a
That's it.
legend.
I'm gonna have to wear glasses and a hat when I go
you
home.
were going to be signing apple fritters. They're going to bring you like the little bag of
Icing.
frosting, and you're going to have to ice those fritters right there.
That's hilarious.
Very good.
On that note,
Very
because
good.
I don't think we're going to be able to throw another one that good in there. Let's see what Mr. Curt has to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Canadians count as well, and safe venting enthusiasts the world over. It is the September edition of The Mechanical Room, and a very special one indeed. Not only do we have Dan Smith live and direct from Calgary, we have Curt Pickering, our guest today, and as always, Mike Sakaris with us. So just a little bit on Curt, and then it's going to get off the rails pretty quick here, I bet. But welcome, Curt. When Curt was 19 years old, he started Pacific Clean Air. That's 31 years in business. So that's just like immediate round of applause.
You just
on
gave
that
his
one.
age away.
I did. He did a little sabbatical in film school and does have IMDb credits to his name. He made a movie in 2012 called Becoming Redwood, which he challenged me to go and find, and I found it very quickly on the Plex app, and it streams on a few different streaming platforms as well. So all of our film fans out there can go and find the executively produced film Becoming Redwood by Curt. In the beginning, Pacific Clean Air specialized in commercial air purification. Self-contained electronic air cleaners were very popular back then, and they were used to remove cigarette and cigar smoke from indoors back when that was allowed. Honeywell was gracious enough to give access to their line, and in a very short time, their entire catalog, and that's when that started the journey for PCA. Our friend likes to do some ice racing on frozen lakes. He's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. He's got designs on climbing Everest with his dad, and he's also a man about the industry who counts among his friends many people who we hold dear, including Colin Sadler, Terrence, all of our
Don't
BC.
forget Big Ben.
Well, of course, Ben, and of course, actually, in his email to me, he said Big Dan Smith is one of them as well. So welcome to a heavily Canadian episode of the Mechanical Room. Say hello to our guests, fellas.
Hello there, Mr. Pickering. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Good.
Nice to finally meet you. I missed Atlanta, but and of course I didn't see you guys in Vegas. There were a lot of manufacturers that just didn't make it because it was kind of in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, that was the hot COVID period. And but where was the last one? I lose track of time.
So
Atlanta,
and then we had skipped, I think, the previous two because of COVID. So
previous one.
Was it?
We missed one.
Yeah, that would have been the one in
We
Vegas.
missed in Vegas.
We missed in Vegas because Curt, you were in Vegas.
I personally
in
can't say
Vegas.
that I missed it, but that's just my own personal standings on there. My friends at AHR, sorry.
Okay.
You're still crying about it last week, actually.
Were they?
Oh, yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. So anyways, Curt, you're decked out so nicely there, wearing all of the regalia of our favorite plastics manufacturer. Thank you for joining us. Do you have any questions for Dan to start this off?
A reverse order.
Yeah, we want to interrogate this man. He is brave enough to sit between these two pillars of HVAC media. And so we want to make sure we grill him like a proper elk steak in addition to interviewing you as well.
Well, I guess the big thing is just trying to get product. That's pretty much it.
Dan,
Multiple orders. Where's my product? We have customers that we absolutely have to satisfy their needs, and it's all on you, Dan. So.
well, Dan, how about
Curt.
this?
Thanks,
The
Curt.
king of spin here. Dan is here this week, Curt, to make sure he meets with the production people and our CEO to make sure that we are meeting the market expectation.
Well, you know what, Curt? You asked a really good question, actually. And right now we had a call this morning. Well, not a call. We actually sat down face to face because I'm in New York. And we anticipate having a plan for execution to put product in Canada, specifically the West Coast. That plan and then execution probably early 2024. Right now we're just finishing up the move in Albany, and then once that's done, and we can give the guys in production manager TJ a breath, we're going to get them to dive right into that, and then just want to make sure that we can backfill it properly.
Well, this
I'm
got
being real serious about it right now.
Yes, it got very serious very
really
quickly
serious,
there.
'cause it's really dear to my heart.
He was advocating for all you
since
guys.
we were talking
for
about
sure.
F-bombs, well, I didn't get told to fuck off this morning when I brought it up.
Oh, that's nice.
So we're on the right track. And, you know, I didn't get fired and the CEO is still talking to me. So I think we're on the right direction of getting product in Canada, finally.
So to put things into context for some folks who may not know, we are in the midst of a building move. We're going into a bigger building. We just changed our ERP, and it is near and dear to my heart, but even more for Dan to get product on the western side of Canada so we can better serve your market. That is definitely, you know, on the short-term radar for us, you know, moving forward.
Isn't ERP fun? Isn't switching over? Isn't it great?
You know, I lived through an old ERP change at the old company that I was with. They went to SAP, and it was bigger manufacturer, and they struggled more. I mean, we've had hiccups here too, but they mightily struggled for a good 2 months. So thank God.
I think it's more like a quarter-long acid reflux situation,
Yes.
anaphylactic shock.
I still remember those days. It was painful.
Hey man, I watched 3M Canada transition over to SAP.
Yeah,
And that was absolutely by far the worst I've ever seen, to the point where they stopped shipping product in Canada to Canadian distributors. We were actually putting our orders into the United States and they were shipping it up to us.
Yeah.
They were just
Yeah,
absolutely.
I could only imagine what happens internally. I mean, the wholesalers, we're just on the receiving end of what happens on your guys' end. So when you don't see any product and you don't hear anything, and it's well, you know, we're going through transition. We have we have a lot of problems. We have hiccups, and of course, you're trying to, as a wholesaler, you're trying to, you know,
mitigate all of that.
Yeah, big time. I mean,
You're in the middle.
bring
again.
up, you know, bring as much.
Guys here.
Yeah, I mean, all through COVID, it was all right. How many months of padded stock do I need? Because I have no idea when I'm getting anything.
Sure.
Really
Luckily for you, though, BC is packed with people who absolutely adore at least the sales and marketing team at Centrotherm, so that does help.
It does help for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But patience lasts for a given amount of time.
But hold on,
Eventually,
let's talk about the good stuff, the air excellent stuff, man. It shows up on time. We have project. Matter of fact, we've even been as early as 4 months.
yes.
Right, Curt?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, 4 months. No,
I sent you in the form of a trailer load.
trailer though. No, I think it came in 2 months. It came way ahead of schedule, and then I think it's gone all the way across Canada and then back east.
Yeah, I think
on average, we're okay.
Yeah, so we were 4 months early on that, and then we're 2 months late, and the other averages out. Pretty
That's all right. That's all right. Those are.
So Dan is one of our favorite people here in Albany, and you could poll the audience and the folks who work with him. He's a beloved man. What's it like to work with this guy in an external capacity? Tell us a little bit about how you and Dan are sort of tag team champions of the world out there in Western Canada.
Well, I think when I first met Dan, it was actually with Andrew, who's with Barclay Sales, and there was, I don't know if there was some form of a transition, but it was kind of right around when Air Excellent came out. And as soon as I heard Air Excellent, I immediately just asked Dan. I said, if I will absolutely throw my toque in the ring. And I just thought it was, just seeing it for a couple of minutes, I thought, very niche product. There's really, at that point, nothing else in the market. And I just thought if there's any possibility that I could get my hands on it, it would be just unbelievable. And it was a pretty quick answer. I think it happened almost immediately. It was absolutely. I think he saw my enthusiasm, and
for sure.
We just, we have, even though we're based, one branch location in Richmond, we have customers all over BC. And, Big Ben is out in Prince George, and he's done multiple projects with Air Excellent. Obviously, he uses Centrotherm pretty much on every single one of his projects, the polypropylene. So, and it's turned out really, really well. I mean, it's done better than I think I anticipated. And anywhere, there's actually a huge shout out to Keith, who owns ProFlame in Powell River. He's actually put the most amount of Air Excellent in out of anybody in
That's our guy with the houses, right? The housing project on the island.
Yeah, a lot of housing projects going up. There's still quite a bit of growth in Powell River. You can still get a house for, I don't know, $500,000, I guess, for a half decent house, as opposed to what, 2.5 for a teardown in Vancouver. So, yeah, no, so he's doing phenomenal.
Yeah.
For some of our listeners in Canada who maybe have not heard of Air Excellent and what it is, and definitely it's kind of a product, that we're queuing up here in the US. In your mind, what is Air Excellent? Why is it cutting edge? What captured your imagination on this?
Well, I think as soon as you see it, it's pretty much, all the tin bashers that are out there, keep bashing tin. But the reality is that when you get a design done by Centrotherm, which is absolutely free, it comes to me incredibly quickly. And to be able to put a package together and send it to a company and even have junior guys put it in. I mean, I've heard stories of a senior tech or the owner of a company going to a job site and showing a junior guy how it goes together, show him the plans, and 8 hours later he comes back and the job's actually done. So as far as the selling the brand, I think it just sells itself. But when you start talking to guys about, all right, how have you been doing your HRVs and ERVs for the last 20, 30, 40 years? This product will save you time, and obviously time saves you a bunch of money. And if you're doing a lot of bid and spec stuff, you bring this to one of your builders or a new builder, and he's probably going to go with you. So you're saving a ton of time. It's a heck of a lot easier to install. And I think the guys that haven't taken advantage of the actual product and getting them to try it, I think that's to me the only hurdle so far with the product is going to guys that I've known for years, and they just don't want to try it. Something new, but guys that try it once will continue to use it over and over. I mean, Ben's a prime example.
Yeah. You being in the field and you're dealing with these guys, right? They're coming into your branch. What recommendations? I mean, this is turning into some guidance for us,
coaching.
Yeah. What can we do to help them, and what can we do to help you get that exposure out there? for the product.
I think Subway gift cards. Yeah, Subway gift
Yeah.
cards are pretty good. Yeah,
Apple fritters.
That's
Yeah.
shitty. Those
Number-
low grade sandwiches, really.
You know,
low grade processed sandwiches I think go a long ways out here for sure.
we could throw in a gift certificate to number 5 orange or something like that.
The number 5 orange, yeah.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
that like a
that'd
top
be
restaurant in Vancouver?
Oh, it's a top restaurant. Top list me.
Oh, all right. I think
Staple.
You know what else is helping us? And I think
How quickly it comes to
grade
mind.
A meat
How
and all
quickly it
that.
comes to
No,
mind.
I think you can agree too, though. I think the work that's been done at the engineering level, we're starting to see more in engineers actually putting it into the spec too out in Vancouver on the multifamily, and we're starting to get some pull through there that contractors are actually coming to us now and saying, "Hey, you the guys with the green pipe, we see it on a spec now."
Sure.
So I think that's
Yeah.
also helping us. But Curt by far was the pioneer right out of the box. As he said, he threw his toucan right into the ring right away.
I should take the toque off, you think?
You can. Thank you for
Yes, sir.
wearing it.
Put a second one on.
You can take it
You
off.
got the other half
Is
behind
it
you.
hot?
Good too. Maybe I should take it off. I'll take it off.
Oh, yeah.
And when Curt did that, we had a place to go, and by far right now in that marketplace, he's led the way with the success he's showing. So it's been greatly appreciated, and he's done a great job, and we've had some fun along the way. I've been out to a few installs, Curt, and
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
all
been-
around. And
I think Curt is pretty recognized as a an innovator and a person. I mean, we've never met personally. We've exchanged emails for a couple of years now. I've just never made it out to Vancouver. Next year, I plan on coming. The Pro S guys are desperate to get me out there to make them stickers or whatever it is. But everybody everybody knows you, and like I said, we're kind of thick as thieves with a lot of the BC guys, and particularly on the gas flue side. But everybody thinks very highly of you, and Pacific Clean Air is like a go-to. I mean, I was talking with Ben, and Ben is trying to get Prince George stock up there, but he can rely on you. So he always ends up going back. You ride the horse that got you there, so to speak, and that's been you for a lot of these guys out there. So we thank you for that, and so do they.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole, business is all about customer service. Never treat anybody like a number. And, it's an emergency business for the most part, but you really have to, a business owner talking to other business owners, we have similar challenges, obviously on the distribution side, different challenges, but we do have a lot of the same challenges. And I think when you create a good network and really invest yourself with your customers, because the reality is that the amount of competition that's out there, they could call anybody. So anytime that phone rings, it's a great opportunity, and especially when guys keep coming back to you, you're obviously doing something right, and it's great to see. I mean, I've been in the game, like you said, for 31 years, and so I've seen a lot of these guys. I mean, when I was 19, I still do business with guys from when I was 19. So it's pretty neat 3 decades later to see these guys, and you know their kids, and you know what's going on with their careers. The kids are, they're in their 20s and they're finished university, and so I love being an entrepreneur, and really with Centrotherm, the person that gave me the we won't mention the other brand of polypropylene, but the other brand that was out there back in the day. Yeah, exactly. I'm losing you. But it was JSA, and it was Paul at JSA at the time, and he came in, and I asked him if it was possible to get Centrotherm, and he said, well, give me some of your numbers, and I'll go back to Centrotherm, and it really didn't take that long.
A lot of respect for JSA in these walls. Obviously, they're not our official manufacturer's rep anymore in BC, but without JSA, the inroads that we have in your area would not be there. Bernie, very technical guy, understood the safety element and approached it from an engineering / safety perspective, which was effective. Without Bernie, we don't have the presence in British Columbia that we have today.
Yeah, Bernie and Paul and Brian, they took the lead there, and they got us to where we were to a point, and that's greatly appreciated, because I still talk to Brian when I see him at shows, and haven't talked to Paul since he retired, but and when I get a chance to talk to Bernie, I've always enjoyed talking to Bernie.
Yeah, we throw word around here quite a bit. Pioneering line in a certain market, and can't take anything away from the JSA guys. They did pioneer, the line for us over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as the years go by and the amount of people, and yeah, obviously when it comes to rep firms,
Things change, things happen.
ever so often the baton gets passed off to another, and Pro West is great, and Matt and Ian and those boys, and so it's yeah, it's enjoyable. I think this industry is more exciting now than it has been in a very long time. I'm quite excited about
people like you should take some of that credit, because that enthusiasm is clear, and nowadays, a lot of people approach HVAC like it's it used to be, just the trades, vocational, blah, 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 blah. Now people see the potential of social media and the professionalism, and there's so many innovative products and stuff that this is an industry that is not unlike fashion or sneakers. I always say that I try to market these pipes like we're a soft drink, more or less. And people are like, yeah, exactly.
That's one big straw, man.
Take a big
Look at my pipes. Look at my pipes. Come on.
Huge.
Healthy
Huge.
looking, healthy.
Hulk Hogan back there.
Pythons.
Pythons.
Oh my God.
I was going to put a whole wall of pipes, but I thought,
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm going to end up having to crop it out anyway, so no worries.
Nice.
You got to enlarge it
With
now.
all the old guys stock in the back.
So personally, I thank people like you often because it makes my job easier. There's a excitement. I mean, we sell gray cylinders, right? Boring plastic, et cetera, but it is a piece of a much larger puzzle, and some of the professionalism that we get to see every single day, people are very enthusiastic about it, and that includes you, and it makes it fun, it makes it interesting. I have no HVAC or mechanical background at all when I came to this company, but now I have,
Do you have any now?
do I have any? Barely, little. Enough. I have enough.
to get by?
I have enough to sell like one product.
Oh, good stuff.
Concentric.
Concentric transport. That's right here, right? But yeah, no, like I'm saying, like I'm grateful for the energy, that you have and enthusiasm, because it creates a feedback loop. And without people like you, I couldn't do the things that I do. And, and then the people out in the field like Terrence and Colin and Ben, they have all of amazing content, and you play a role in that as well, which uplifts the trades as a whole. So, I mean, there's a lot of credit to spread around.
Hey, Curt, tell me something. With what's going on right now, what's the biggest challenge you think that we're seeing in our industry right now?
That's called a very unsubtle transition right there. This is first podcast right there. One sec.
What were you saying? Sorry.
So I was going to ask you, so when you look at the market right now where we are in BC, what do you think our biggest obstacle is right now? What are you seeing as we move forward with polypropylene pipe and the Air Excellent? What do you think some of the hurdles that we're seeing today that maybe we're going to have to get over?
Well, I think I've always thought with polypropylene, I still do business with guys that have never even tried it. It's just bizarre to me, and Flex really should be selling a lot more than it is, but there's just a lot of people that are out there that either have never tried it, don't know, talking to possibly wholesalers that don't really talk about it too much. But out here there's tons of townhouses and housing co-ops and lots of places where you have a hot water tank and a furnace sharing a 5-inch B vent. And so what a great opportunity to remove those two products and put in, a combination boiler with a hydronic air handler, and you have one pipe and all of the units look the same. So Strata's happy, and there's guys missing out there. And the good companies that know how the product works can talk to a Strata and just be able to sell the product that it is. I always like to use no problem when somebody asks you a question about what you can and can't do. And you absolutely know that you can do it. You just say no problem. We'll take care of it. We'll put a package together for you. We'll put a quote together for you, and you will. Getting rid of 2 gas burning appliances and putting in one is obviously beneficial. And of course, the more that we're getting into the electrification out here, which I think we can all agree what's going on out here. If you guys know what's going on out here,
We do.
It's challenging. For the most part, all of us are on the same page. I don't think natural gas is going away. I'm pretty sure that most of the municipalities are going to step back a bit. I think they've got a lot of heat. So much of it's political, and it shouldn't be political. It should be about giving people options for how do you want to heat your home and what do you want to use for your domestic hot water, and yet people are getting forced into basically going one way.
Yeah.
So back to what you were saying before about I guess the knowledge and introducing it to people who've never tried, never heard of it before. What's the solution? Is it just train, or what do you think? I mean, I personally, we're obviously a big training organization. I love to live in Adobe Premiere Pro and make videos all day long, as you've seen on our Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. However, no video can go, this pipe is very light. You can say it, but there's no substitute for feeling it. So what's your take on that?
Well, I think when I first ended up getting the product, it was getting a sample design and then putting a whole thing together and sending it out to the guys that put a half decent amount of HRVs and an ERVs in. And so it was, okay, this is what you're going to get, but the design is free. And with Dan, obviously Dan's help and your guys' help, we managed to get some product out there to some big boys and give a discount right out of the gate. And I think some guys were very appreciative of that, and guys like Ben continued on, but some of the guys just didn't, which I thought was just so peculiar that they didn't see the benefit of it. So it's a matter of going back, new products, somebody tries it once, but who was actually on site? And there's sometimes changing of the guard and changing, but I think sending out packages to see what the product does, and then the amount of time, and also giving numbers, such as Ben and Keith at ProFlame, guys that love the product, they see the benefits of it, keep going back to it. It's nice that I can lean on those guys too and say, hey, by the way, there's somebody that's thinking about trying it. Would you mind talking to them and tell your story? And that's not, I'm a sales guy, so I'm trying to sell something. Obviously, I don't sell tin. And so a guy like Ben and Keith at ProFlame, can contact these guys and say, I saved half the amount of time. It was a breeze to install. You'll never go back to tin. But then also doing, of course, outside sales calls as well. And then, of course, Dan is incredibly active of coming down and going to see guys. He's been to multiple job sites. And so I think it's a combination of the awareness and then having the guys that are out there that have put it in. So it's coming from a fellow contractor, not necessarily myself. That always goes along. Sure. I think that always goes a long ways.
That we always talk about. It's one thing for us, we have a motive, right, to get the word out, and that's what we do as a manufacturer, right? But it's another thing if an installer like Terrence or like Ben or
Colin or Victor or Graham or Paris Mechanical or right, all like,
if they're promoting it, and we love it, right, because it's somebody that's using it. It's a testimonial. And especially with social media now, it's the new version of a testimonial where they're getting the word out because they like it, but it's also helping, bring awareness to the market.
And I definitely do my best to make sure that it gets regrammed back to our followers as well. I mean, I share religiously all of those guys are very grateful for that as well. And it's sort of like we've all helped each other in that respect. I'm incredibly grateful to all of those people and many, many more who we've named already for doing that type of stuff. And it comes back again full circle to the enthusiasm about sort of the professionalism. It's, if they were slogging through it and just like, okay, getting it done and whatever, they probably wouldn't take to Instagram to say, hey, I had a great time with this. This was pretty simple. It's accurate. And of course, we're talking mostly about Air Excellent here, but I mean, the same goes for the gray stuff as well. And, we're very blessed to have very fertile BC contractors who, I mean, it's our most abundant region in terms of that type of content. I mean,
this is not sucking up, but, we see a lot of installs through social media. By far, BC has some of the highest quality installers in North America.
Look at Robert R&J Mechanical, where he's living in the shoe shop. I mean,
absolutely.
One of the posts he had, Ben's had some great stuff.
I mean, I just rattled off 5 different guys, whatever. I mean, and again, hey, you put a microscope on that hydronic summit from last week, and it was like a bomb squad out there. I mean, it was.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I mean, a new employee of this man.
Oh yeah.
Evan.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
met Evan. Yeah.
What a great find.
Great find.
Awesome guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, he was on the tools. Yeah, he was on the tools for years, and
Yeah.
he has a young daughter, and being in a mechanical room on Saturday night at 10 o'clock at night, trying to get a system up and running. It was just the flexibility of being at wholesale. You put a good day's worth of work in, but at 5 o'clock you go home and your phone doesn't ring, and you have life after work, unlike you guys.
Yeah, that doesn't happen on the manufacturing side.
No. Nonstop.
Yeah.
So we made a very similar hire as our first technician that is now working in our application side of things. You'll get to meet him shortly. We're training him on Iniflu. Dylan.
Oh, yes.
Is his name.
Okay.
So you'll get to meet him, I'm sure, soon. We're training him on Iniflu takeoffs, doing vent bombs, and shortly on Air Excellent. And he's been on the tool side as well.
He's a fellow Grecian too.
He is not. I think he's Lithuanian.
Oh,
His
okay.
name does look Greek,
Okay.
but he is Lithuanian.
Okay. His name does look Greek.
It does indeed.
I saw a sheep at his desk. I don't know what that meant.
Come on. He's not Welsh. That's what I mean.
A little
That's,
stuffed sheep on his desk. I don't know what that's all.
oh, I thought it was rubber.
Oh, rubber?
Yeah.
Boots?
Um,
Piece of the sheep? I don't know.
All right. So
Where
we
is this going?
digress often here.
Okay, that went off there. So who else is on staff with you? Because I mean, for everybody, I mean, these guys don't know. Your
yeah.
full
Tell
staff,
us
so-
tell us
so
a little bit more about the org.
Yeah, so it's Evan's in there with on the tool experience, and then Phil and the rest of the whole
And
guys.
somewhere in there, tell us how you out of nowhere got into wholesaling. It seems like it's a very interesting
Movies to
story.
wholesale.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, it was pretty bizarre, really. I was actually, so at 19, I was actually going to film school at the time, and my brother was working for a locksmithing company at the time out of high school. Didn't really know what he wanted to do, so he was in a trade. And there was actually a retired guy that actually started up a company called Pacific Clean Air. And back then, I think he was working 1 day a month, and the only line that he had was basically Honeywell, and it were commercial air cleaners when you could smoke. And so he was basically doing nothing with the company. And my brother he just had this idea that he wanted to be an entrepreneur at his age. And he thought, well, you want to be an entrepreneur? And I thought to myself, well, kind of want to go to film school and finish that off and not be in front of the camera, be behind the camera. And over the course of about 6 months, we both ended up owning a small company, and so no film school, but I was able to in 2012 kind of jump into the ring and make a film and go to the Cannes Film Festival and win some awards. And
Very nice.
Shit, that's awesome.
yeah, it was fun. Yeah, so a shout out to my buddies Jolie and Chad. So they started up a production company. Same kind of thing. They were actors and they wanted to start creating their own content. So they started up a production company, tried to find a small film, looking at a bunch of different scripts that would fit a specific budget. And I kind of threw my hat into the ring and ended up being an executive producer. And yeah, it was really pretty interesting to be inside of the ring with the film industry. It's still sales. Any way you slice it, it's still sales, and you got a lot of people telling you.
I think it's more sales than people realize.
Yeah, and most people you talk to, they're full of shit for the most part. They really are.
That's every industry, though, I think.
Yeah, and so it was pretty wild. We did win some awards. We opened up it was really funny. We opened up the Edmonton Film Festival, if you can believe. So big,
Dude, yeah. Dude.
But it was pretty neat. We went to the Cannes Film Festival in 2012, and not obviously to compete, but we were there supporting an international sales company that was selling the film, and I was there trying to sell another film that one of my other friends was doing, and we were there for 8 days and got to experience the life of being inside of that ring, and it was something.
So who are you rubbing elbows with over there?
It was the one good party that we went to. It was what was really funny is, so we go to this party, and I think it was BMW. What's that?
It was the big Miramax event, right?
I saw Harvey in the washroom, and then I immediately got his autograph. No, I didn't. But yeah, we go to this party, and obviously we're nobodies. So there's the paparazzi. Nobody's taking pictures of us. It was quite funny. And we get in there, and De Niro came in. So De Niro came in, Gerard Butler came in, Ewan McGregor. It was kind of a revolving door of A-list actors coming through the party. It's funny because they just basically they have to hit 19 parties that night.
Yeah,
So they would come in for about 15 minutes and walk around a bit and take some pictures and then take off. So yeah, so that was pretty good. And then we got to walk the red carpet and actually go see a film in that theater.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. That's a dream for a lot of people. A lot of people don't get to have even remotely that taste. Con, obviously one of the Con, Sundance, Tribeca, like the big film festivals that everybody has in their in their site. So that's super cool, man.
And then let's segue back to so who else in the staff there besides Evan? Because let's talk.
Oh yeah, I mean we're definitely not we're not a monstrosity like Woolsey and Emco and that, but it's really Evan, Jay, myself, Trent, and a full-time accountant. So we just do our
lean and mean, but you guys are moving some products, so we thank you for that.
Yeah, lean and mean, definitely growing. Hopefully gonna have a big expansion at the end of next year. So I think that's gonna help. Going to help, but we're definitely going in the right direction.
And expansion, you mean like warehouse space or
big building? Location? Yeah, we want to be in a really big building. Probably I don't know, at least 8 to 10 times the size that we're in now.
Wow, that is big.
I think we'll get there. I'm pretty confident the way things are going. So
excellent, good for you guys. That's
awesome, man.
Some good growth.
Yeah, for real. That's
really
8 to 10 times bigger is a sizable.
Yeah, we're proud that we're going twice the size we are. 10, that's big.
Yeah, no,
that's big.
We've had some good times up there. We got a chance to get together one night over on North Van and having a pint and dinner. That was a good night that night.
Yeah, and then I think it was last year I worked the Build Deck show for you.
Yeah, Curt was gracious enough.
That's right.
I remember those photos.
Yeah, I couldn't be in two places at once, and I asked Curt.
Yeah,
I'll step in, and actually because of that, actually that got us our first multifamily build because that was Spectrum. Oh God,
Spectrum sheet metal. Yeah,
Spectrum sheet metal.
Yep, absolutely.
And he came back and then circled back and
fantastic.
So kudos to Curt.
Well, that's clearly, I mean, that's the kind of extra mile, like, stuff that not everybody, like, you won't get that out of some of the aforementioned juggernauts that you were talking about there before. So it's funny, like the size allows you some flexibility, and you can kind of pick and choose, and you pick which horse you want to ride a little bit. And, sure. That's nice. It's nice to have that option, let's say, because I don't think that comes at at a certain point, it becomes harder to do, let's say.
Yeah. Hey, on a personal, so when are you and Dad going to do Everest? Is this for
yeah,
sure,
so Dad's turning 80 next year.
Yeah.
And he so we did Kilimanjaro when he was 75.
Yeah.
And I keep reminding him that I saved his life because I'm glad I was there. He did get elevation sickness.
Oh wow.
And which a lot of people do. Yeah. And so I was glad I'm very glad that I was there with him to experience, the whole climb, but obviously just to be there for him.
Yeah.
And so thankfully he made it. And then he's just a very motivated, I'm sure a lot of what I have as far as motivation goes in business and just in life, I think in general is definitely from him. Mom too, of course, but he, as long as he's healthy and he's in, sound in body, he wants to do Everest Base Camp, and he wants to do it before he possibly can't.
So
that's awesome.
That a friend of my father-in-law's has done that. I think he got to the second base camp, and it was a very lengthy and interesting process to do so, and of course not inexpensive. What is the timeline? Like how? Like take us through like the actual process. Like you got to fly to freaking Nepal, but you also got to chill out on the, as you get used to it. So like it's not only is it a big commitment in various ways, but also time-wise, it takes some time.
It takes some time. Kilimanjaro was you pretty much, when you buy the package, you can pick 3 different timelines to get up to the top. The timeline that we did was in the middle. You can get up there really fast and do it. I think it's 4.5 or 5 days, which is complete insanity. I talked to a guy that did it, and half of his crew didn't even make it to the top because it's the elevation.
As I understand it, though, it's like it's less of a steep incline, right? It's not as straight up as Everest is.
It's not. There's one day, I think it's called the Barranqui Wall, that we climbed, which was pretty interesting. We pretty much started the morning, and I think all of us were wondering where we were going. And the guy said, well, see that ginormous mountain there? We're actually going up that, of course, with no ropes. And yet there's an unbelievable path, a couple of fun little spots where you're climbing over things. And I wouldn't say it was touch and go, but yeah, that was probably the steepest part of it.
Oh, wow.
And but I think we got up there in 6 days. And so it's you can't train for it, obviously. We live at sea level, so you can't. And when you start the climb, you're at 4,000 feet already, and you pretty much go to 10 the first day. And then there's a couple of days where you're walking for 8 to 10 hours and you only climb a couple hundred feet because you're trying to obviously get used to the elevation.
Yeah.
So
what of the elevate? What is it? The air? Is it what is it that you're struggling with? To get accustomed to?
You're struggling with the air. I mean, that's the big thing. And some people got hit at 15,000 feet. Yeah. And other people were getting hit while we were at the top, and they ended up getting a lot of snowfall, more snow than they had ever seen in 10 years at the very top, which was very unusual. And it was just one way up and one way down, so it took a long time to get to the top. And then there's so many people at the top wanting to get that infamous picture right underneath the sign. Yeah. And I think a lot of us were up there for 45 minutes, and people just basically, you look drunk. People are just falling over.
Yeah. Is that 6 days up and 6 days down then?
Nope. You're pretty much, it's basically about 6.5 days total. So when you get to the top, you get almost all the way down. You can almost get, because of course you start at 10 o'clock at night. They want you to see the sun come up. And so you get to the top, and then you work your way down to kind of a base camp, and you rest for about an hour, and you continue down, and about 6 o'clock that next night you get to camp, and then it's only 2 more hours to get back down to the parking lot. So it's
crashing and sleeping for like a day or two when you get to the bottom.
Yeah, it is. It's the challenge is not physical, it is totally mental, and it's difficult to explain to people what it's like to do it, because you kind of have to do it. But sleep deprivation is huge, and it's just different for everybody. It's just different for everybody. So I'm glad I did it. It's Everest is going to be, because it's 20,000 feet. It's up there.
So what's the timeline on that one then? Similar or longer?
It's longer. It's going to be 9, which will probably be better. Yeah, it'll be
more time to acclimate.
More time to acclimate for sure. And there's other things to see. I think in the first day, probably not day 2, but you go to a town. You end up in a town and get to hang out as opposed to sleeping in a tent. So
yeah, that's kind of cool.
Dig in on that traditional Nepalese food, whatever the hell that might be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I would love to try it. Are you kidding me? I'm an indoorsman, but doing something like Everest is something that actually like really fascinates me. Like I'm like very much a basic.
2 years ago, I did 12,000 feet, but I had a motor to my legs.
Yeah.
It up. It was pretty good.
It's a little easier, Dan.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Hey, you know what though? You go up to Bear's Tooth on a bike, and you would not believe how many guys get tired and drop their bikes going up the switchbacks back and forth.
Oh, I believe it.
It's crazy.
Motorcycle.
But that elevation, as Kurt's talking about, at 12,000 feet, you'll see some people when they do get up there, you kind of look at them, they're like loopy.
Yeah. That's my natural state.
Yeah,
so
loopy no matter what.
It's Friday, Saturday for sure.
That's the last 30 years of my life. So
should ask my wife what I look like on Friday nights.
Should show him some videos that I sent you the other day.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
but I really felt for people that were feeling, nausea was setting in on day 3 with people. And you can just see the look on people's faces, just feeling absolutely terrible, huge headaches and throwing up. And
So is there anything you can do to combat that? Like, can you eat some jerky and just stay hydrated, or like what do you do?
Jerky.
I think if you had a foot long veggie sub from Subway, I think you could probably get through it. Yeah, I think you probably could.
It's a natural preservative.
Delicious Subway sandwiches. The answer's here. You have to.
He loves Subway, I take it.
You would think that I had shares in Subway or something. I'm not sure why. Okay, let's switch to Quiznos. No, let's not do that.
I don't think we have those anymore around here. I don't know where there's one around here. I mean, we got some Jersey Mikes. Your personal favorite, Mr. Sub.
It's a local favorite.
That's the one thing we don't have a lot of Kurt anymore is Mr. Sub.
Mr. Sub, yeah, they kind of disappeared. But there is something
chain that we're talking about.
There is something you can take. You pretty much go see a pharmacist and you tell them that you're going to be climbing a mountain, and they do prescribe. I can't remember what it's called.
Not like Dramamine.
No, yeah, I can't remember. It's not Dramamine, but it's not necessarily for altitude sickness, but it can work. And so you take kind of half of the pill before you start your climb each day, and half of it kind of in the middle. And knock on wood, I didn't experience elevation sickness, which I was glad. I was really glad.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I'm always fascinated by that type of stuff. I mean, Kilimanjaro, Everest, those are two, like bucket list items for, much of the globe. So, good on you for kind of checking those boxes. That's super cool. I mean, I'd like to do Everest, but in reality, I'm never gonna fucking do that.
You're the guy that complains when you walk outside when it's like,
I do better in the cold. I do better in the cold.
A little hot, melts down, man.
I'll do a little bit better in the cold. But again, I am also an in for a penny, in for the pound person. So if I'm going to Africa and I'm getting jacked up with malaria vaccines and all kinds of stuff,
jacked up? What's the deal with that?
Well, you gotta get like, how many shots did you get before you went to Africa?
You definitely had a few. Yeah, definitely a few. Yeah, just kind of have to.
There's a couple of shots you got to get.
Yeah, so in for a penny, in for a pound. You're gonna wear a mosquito net. You climb the mountain, right? Not everybody can do that. So
yeah, you did okay in Greece.
The people from Winnipeg, they'll get exempt from having to wear a mosquito net.
Is that right?
Yeah, because the mosquitoes in Winnipeg are the size of small children.
That's true.
So you don't really have to worry about that.
So I want to go back to the film stuff real fast too.
Let's do it.
Well, I'm curious. I'm just like, as a film student and a film fan, as a result, I just want to hear what your favorite movies are. And who's your favorite director?
So we usually do a what's your favorite music, but this one it's what's your favorite
who's your favorite director, and rattle off some of your tops.
Yeah, give us
some. I mean it's really hard as far as favorite of all time. It's hard just because I mean in the 80s, if I look at the decade of the 80s, which I think is was a fun decade, being the fact that my age, all the John Hughes movies that came out back then, Breakfast Club and Weird Science and all that was pretty cool. But a big fan of Oliver Stone. I wish he would do another film, but of course with Platoon and JFK but then I kind of like to bounce into the horror genre, and I was always a fan of John Carpenter and Wes Craven and Clive Barker and David Lynch. It's too bad that he doesn't like filming on digital and just probably will never make a film ever again. That's just kind of his.
He's a real cult hero.
Yeah, he's just so different. He was never mainstream, and I just it's just too bad that he decided to go the route that he decided to go. But so many more great films. But I mean a true original for sure. But nowadays it's tough. The film industry took a complete left turn, and now it seems Marvel's kind of taken over, and there's not a lot of great films for us adults.
Yeah, actually I was going to ask you what's a recent movie that's moved you, because there's a lot of garbage out there, and there's a lot of like popcorn films. I mean, a lot of say what you will about the Marvel movies, they're well done, they're entertaining, they're not Raging Bull, but they are what they are.
You can come clean. I know you told me you like the Barbie movie, so come clean.
Okay, you ready for this review of the Barbie movie?
Yeah.
$1.4 billion. They must have made it for 10-year-old girls. I have no idea.
You didn't see it? It was actually very good. It was very good.
I didn't get it.
My daughter wants me to see it. I didn't see it.
It's very good.
My granddaughter, I got away from it. I didn't have to see it, but I've heard the same thing.
It's
Actually,
not. So your
people say-
granddaughter is very young. It is not for her.
And you know what? My granddaughter's 9. She went to see it, and she didn't like it.
It's not for her.
And her mom said, "Oh yeah, you got to go see this because you're going to get all the little intricacies of the jabs and all the stuff that we grew up with. Anybody who grew up with Barbie, GI Joe, and all those guys.
It's not for children.
Yeah, it's more for it's a more adult movie.
It is definitely. It's tackling some really interesting themes.
So now you got me curious
Yeah.
about it.
No, now I don't want to. I don't want to think
your
about
wife
anything.
would love it.
My wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Very.
Well,
very.
my wife and I were looking at each other at least every 10 or 15 minutes going, we have no idea what the heck's going on.
So that's kind of part of it. It's like it is a bit surreal.
Does it all come back though at the end and that makes sense now?
Well,
not
I think
really.
you're so in my opinion, right? You think of what Barbie is. The movie ain't that. You just put it like that.
Okay.
No, it's the Barbie is one thing.
Well, the lead actress was looking pretty good.
Well, there's some really in jokes. There's some meta content. Commentary about Margot Robbie portraying Barbie in this, and that actually calls her out, breaks the fourth wall, which is some film, language there.
Right.
I don't know,
Fourth wall.
It's a movie that is very meta.
Okay.
Right. Well, I'll mention a movie that you guys probably haven't seen because it kind of came and went last year. Wasn't promoted heavily. It was still during COVID. Nightmare Alley. If you guys haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it. Nightmare
Alley. It's Guillermo del Toro, which of course has made Pan's Labyrinth, and so it's Bradley Cooper and Kate Blanchett's in it, and it is mostly actually filmed in Toronto. It's phenomenal.
Nightmare Alley. Okay. I mean,
I'll have to check it out. Did you see Pan's
I'll
Labyrinth?
look for
Pan's Labyrinth?
What's that?
Pan's Labyrinth?
Pan's Labyrinth. That's of course Guillermo del Toro, of course.
Yeah. Did you like that movie? That's one of my faves.
Pan's Labyrinth is unbelievable. When that came out,
It blew me away, man. It blew me away.
I love that Guillermo del Toro does not take himself too seriously. Really interesting guy, but he has a recurring role on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, playing like this. Have you seen it, Curt?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, he plays the patriarch of this weird family that's on the that's in the extended character set, whatever, and it's really, really funny, especially considering it's him, a legendary director and all that. So it's funny. It just shows that he's not, taking himself too seriously or whatever. So very, very, very funny and very, very good cameo by him.
We haven't really seen a really good movie come out in a long time, have we? Like, that everyone sits there and goes,
yeah,
oh,
Oppenheimer.
Really
I mean, I really like.
I liked Oppenheimer.
I didn't see it,
was
but
very good.
Everybody's telling me it's great.
The Banshees of Inisherin, I thought was a masterpiece.
Yeah,
it was great.
I'm a big fan of that writer director. In Bruges is one of my all-time favorite movies.
In Bruges,
yeah, that movie
was really good.
Awesome.
Well done.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, Oppenheimer was really good. I enjoyed that. I shouldn't say there hasn't been. That was
So that's Christopher Nolan, of course, which is, we're talking blockbuster stuff here. Yeah, I mean,
Inception.
Yeah, I mean, Interstellar might be the best sci-fi movie of all time.
Interstellar was wonderful.
I mean, that movie is a masterpiece. Probably I would say his best movie.
I work too much. I got to get time out because I've never seen it.
Yeah.
You gotta watch him on the plane.
Stop getting on the motorcycle for days. You can't watch movies.
That's right.
That's right. Out there in Sturgis getting tattoos like a common ruffian.
Oh, there you go. That's good. Yeah.
Did you get tattoos while you're on your trip?
Yeah, I got a tattoo. I'll show it to you when I see you. And
it's in a private spot. He's got.
Is it my initials?
Yeah. How did you know?
Yeah, no, I've kind of figured.
Yeah.
It's a
There's always been a little bit of a bromance between us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
It's a photorealistic portrait on his whole back.
Yeah.
That's it.
I got the picture with the top hat.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, you know, there's all.
Are you familiar with the Birth of Venus? You're like in a shell. It looks like a classic Botticelli art piece, and then it has.
You just gave it away. It's on his Botticelli.
And the tramp stamp is the Pacific Clean Air logo.
Today.
Nice.
Did you see the video of my wife sleeping on the back of the bike?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
No. That's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, no, actually, it's pretty safe. She's tucked in there. She can't go anywhere. But
there's a guy
strapped in.
Matt here was like, what? Is she really sleeping? I go, yep.
You just bungee her in, right?
No, she's just sits back there. And I got to tell you guys a story really quickly about her falling asleep. So one of the first motorcycle trips we take, we meet up in Reno and we go up to the West Coast and we're coming up the West Coast. And the day before she says to me, gosh, I guess sometimes I just nod off. And I went, well, just be careful, right? So we're driving down the road and I look in the one rearview mirror and I can't see her because I can usually see her on one of the two mirrors. In both mirrors, I can't see her. I think I remember this is a girl who comes from an Italian family who's got 3 brothers, of which one is a little crazy. Okay. And all I could think of was,
We call that nod.
how do I go home and tell, yeah, where's Franca? I'm not sure.
She
Somewhere
fell
in California. I just got going. And we laughed so hard. But yeah, she's quite comfortable back there. She has a little snooze. And yeah, this summer we didn't get out on the bike. I said to you we might get out, but we didn't. We ended up flying. But yeah, we do a lot.
So what, as far as next year's concerned with you guys are, probably see you guys in Chicago. I'm definitely going to go to Chicago. So
We'll be there.
See you at the show.
We're not exhibiting, but we will be on the grounds.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's coming out next year? Any interesting tidbits that we should know about?
We're working on the Squid Games right now.
Nice.
So on the social media side, we also are looking at Air Excellent and in what form or fashion do we launch it in the US? Actually, we're leaving this meeting and going to do that, talking about a US
Solution,
version and launch.
Right.
And I mean, geez, so we're changing facilities. We just got a new website. We revamped like all of our digital stuff right now. It's crazy. It's like how many projects can we do at once? The ERP, we have CRM training coming in. We got one of our dear Dutch colleagues is en route right now from the Netherlands to put this guy through the paces, teach him to turn his computer on and whatnot, and type a few names in there.
I thought the stone and chisel was working just fine. The tablet was good.
Papyrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, smoke sick coming out of my living room.
Well, that's just southern Alberta. You can't see them over the mountains.
So
haven't figured that out yet.
So we are, ultimately trying to get our feet underneath us so we can continue the good stuff that we're doing. We're going through a digital evolution right now with all of the tools that we are enhancing or replacing or instituting. And it's it's literally holistic across the board from every person in this organization. It touches this in some way, one of that system. Some of us, many, many more. I personally had nothing to do with the ERP, and I likes it that way. But CRM and our PIM system and a new website, and the way that we do work orders is brand new, and the way that we're doing, the way that we do our sales reporting is brand new. And it's been a real interesting revolution over here. Not without its pitfalls and struggles, of course, but really muscle building, and unfortunately not with doing steroids where it comes real quick. We're doing it the old fashioned way, lots of repetitions and just getting tight and toned.
One good thing for Curt, nothing has changed about one thing, that I'm still around to be a pain in your ass.
Correct.
That's consistent.
Correct. Well, that's I'll take that consistency.
Okay, there you go.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
No, it's been a lot of, since day one, it's been great. I can't thank Dan enough. I'm guessing he made the decision to allow us to get access to Air Excellent. And so, that's what business is all about. It's certainly not all me. It's who you meet, and there's lots of, right place, right time, and being super, super lucky, because that's exactly how I've always felt about business. I'm very lucky to be around for 30 plus years. Super, super lucky. And I can only thank the vendors and rep firms and staff and of course all the customers that that shop with us pretty much hopefully every single day or every single week. It's been a great ride for sure.
You guys, I was just thinking something right now. Just looking at Curt. He's been there 30 years. Look at the mop of hair on his head, man. Like, the guy's got awesome hair. And Joel's been in the business how long?
Less than that.
Less than that.
Yeah, but these are plugs.
Well, you gotta keep up that Hollywood look, when you show up and you better have that,
Absolutely.
So that's all right, Curt, we've taken up a lot of your time already today. This is a lengthy interview. It's going to be a beast for me to edit this, as always, but worth every minute here. We thank you for joining us. Any closing words for our friend?
No, hey, thanks very much. You know that. I appreciate everything you guys do there, and it's a pleasure doing business with you guys. So thanks very much, Curt.
Yeah, it's been great. I can hardly wait for 2024. I think we're going to do a lot better with Air Excellent, and I think our sales will just keep going up. And obviously, I really love you guys' content. I think it's great. A lot of fun. Obviously, you've interviewed Ben and Sadler and Terrence, and I'm not sure who else you have, but there's it's really kind of cool that you guys were reaching out to the BC crew.
Oh yeah,
from
Rob
BC.
Quizak has been
Yeah.
on the program too. I mean, and we're friendly with everybody. It warms my heart. You were saying that was my favorite clip from the show the other day, where it was like, okay, it's Ian walking around with his Instagram, and he's giving a fritter to Victor, who is a legend, and Victor's like, oh, he says, who do you want to say hello to? And he goes, well, Matthew, of course. And it's like, oh,
Those shredders, Kurt, were unbelievable though.
Did you bring me one?
They just disappeared, man.
I
Disappeared.
want one.
Just
It looks
disappeared.
so good.
Disappeared. Hey, did you know that? Speaking of Rob, did you know he's moving to Alberta? He's moved. He's living in Red Deer.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I know that he left during
Rob,
the fires and stuff. So
Yeah,
RJ?
RJ. Yeah.
He moved. I did not know that.
He's in Alberta now. Yeah.
Nice. Is he an
there
Oilers
you go.
fan?
We're gonna talk.
I'm going to wear my Oilers jersey tomorrow just for
he's
you.
from BC. So is he Canucks guy or is he?
I don't know. We've never really talked hockey.
I'll find out.
We'll find out.
Boy,
Yeah, we should
it's
let
tough
him
to
go.
be a Canucks fan, I tell you.
So, are you a Canucks fan?
Well, it's tough. You try to stay on that wagon, but boy, oh boy, does ever Aquilini's really make it tough.
Yeah.
I tell you, you have so many great young players, and yet nothing gels.
No.
Nothing gels. It's just so bizarre and frustrating to watch. So
I'm a Rangers fan, and that's a lifetime of pain also. So
lifetime of pain. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Good talking to you guys. I'm glad I finally got a chance to see you guys, and then in person, of course, in 3 months. So
yeah, we'll see you. Absolutely. Thanks so
We
much.
appreciate your time. Thank you very
right on.
much.
Take care, guys.
All right, we are back. We are up to base camp and returned.
That was quite an interview.
That's
That was my first time that I've spent time with Curt. He's a pretty interesting fella.
I learned some stuff about him too.
Sure, it really speaks to him. I mean, I feel as though you're like this. I feel like I'm like this. You're a little bit more traditional in some respects, and no offense, but Curt is one of the people that's helping to make HVAC the way that it is today. A bit of a renaissance man with he doesn't come from, let's say, an HVAC. Well, I guess he started as a kid, but like film school background, but now a distributor, NPR producer. Now I do the marketing, Greek male model, and now he's the sales director.
I know.
Harley Davidson mechanic, and then you come back into the mechanic. So we're coming from a lot of different directions, and we all kind of like meet here in the trades, as we say, which is, I think part of what we were talking about off camera there. We're all kind of doing our part to sort of uplift the whole mechanical room, which is really the basis for this podcast.
What's nice about, from what I've been told, and I get to see a lot of contractors and a lot of people in the industry out there, is he's truly a resource. Like people go in, and that group knows what they're talking about.
He's seen as an expert in what he does.
From the counter
question.
right through. And and people say, if I really want to know something, I'll go and ask him. And he gives an honest answer, and it's just the way it is with him.
Yeah, he's very well respected, and clearly he understands the concept that I think we all do here as well, which is all sales is customer service, and he's really, really good to his customers. And you can if you're really good to your customers, they take bad news better. They deal with issues. You deal with them together if you're not perceived as just a middleman or just a yes man even, or
well, he gets the true moniker. Make it easy for your customer to do business with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what he does. And that means, if it means staying a little later or taking and driving something across town, I mean, even us, think about it. He talked about it there in the interview. He stepped in for me when it was show because, hey, one guy in Canada can't be two places at once. Asked him for a favor, and the guy did me a solid. So
that's a real solid right there too.
Yeah.
That's something that you wouldn't get out of other groups, let's say, and shows his flexibility, his knowledge and willingness of the product, his standing behind the product. Plus, it also on the if you look at it from the other way, that's him being a customer service guy, providing the information to the end user base.
Absolutely.
Which not everybody can do that. There are many wholesalers who do not have the technical knowledge that could pinch hit in a booth.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, this is going to sound very flattering. I kind of intend it that way, but he's very much a visionary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he went from film school to owning a distributorship and growing that to 10 times,
Yeah, that's a big leap.
Yeah, and he saw our product when it was new, when we were trying to get the word out. And again, that visionary aspect of it, he saw what he could do for his customers, for himself.
Yeah.
Certainly helps us too.
A pioneer.
A pioneer. We mentioned that word earlier.
well put. He's a pioneer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could take credit for it, but I think Pioneer program was yours. But that's what we've been doing. I mean, honestly, that's the story of Centrotherm writ large in the U.S. and Canada, as pioneering this type of product, new
tough,
technology.
But it's tough, and we've talked about this many times. It's a hard thing to do. You got to look at things different, but it's also a very fun thing to do. It's pioneering, charting out a new course, and I think.
And it's rewarding.
And I think Curt is kind of like that too, right? Being an executive producer for a movie. I mean, he's taking a chance. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
indeed. Visionary pioneer with the technical knowledge and the savviness to see it all through. Plus, personally, like clearly a nice guy, clearly a fun guy with varied interests, and somebody who you clearly would like to have a good time having a beer with, as you have.
Yeah.
And I look forward to doing maybe a crown instead, or several, a double. I think a double. Yeah.
We can do the Sturgis one. 3 for the price of 2.
There we go. I like it. Man,
3 ounces for 2.
Four flex kits get a 5th one for free, like that sort of thing over there. So yes, indeed. So it was great to bring all of our Canadian friends on here, basically, for it. So what was your impressions of doing a podcast? This is not unlike the interview we've done before. It was pretty similar.
Yeah, pretty similar, but you know what? A lot of things that go on behind the scenes, and the work that's involved in it. Kudos to you and Mike. I mean, to do it and be consistent at doing it. Maybe we make this a once-a-year thing that, hey, I'd like to do another one with somebody else.
Come down to New York.
I'd love it. Good. I'll even get better at it, maybe.
You will.
Actually, you were pretty damn good today. Pretty smooth today.
Absolutely.
Very good.
This is where you struggle with the camera, is when you have like a script, right? You're better spontaneously, because that's your strength.
When I was younger, you should have seen me in the bar.
Yeah, well, I believe
no scripts there.
Well, I'm sure of that, man. I'm sure of that. I'm talking.
Franco, don't listen.
Yeah, dear, I was an angel, dear.
This
is pre-Franca times.
No, it's pretty fun.
So yeah, no, excellent. And maybe we can start working in like our we bring in our Canadian correspondent live from Calgary here.
Man on the field,
man in the street, something like that.
That'd be a good segment.
It would be a good segment.
That'd be kind of fun.
I agree.
We're always good for.
We could walk down the street in Calgary, Vancouver, and go, "Hey, have you ever heard of Centrotherm?"
Oh my God! Yeah, please do that. That'd be. I mean, the results will be hilarious.
That could be one of our Monday messages.
I just put one in yesterday.
Oh, I install tankless all the time. And nice to meet you at the bank or wherever the hell it is. It's like, sir, this is a Wendy's. Can you leave me alone?
You have hot water here, do you not?
That's actually so it's funny you should mention that. Whenever I talk to people, obviously we talk about water heaters, and the mechanical room is second nature to us, but clearly not to everybody, including me when I was new here, whatever. But when people ask me, I was at a party over the weekend and I'm describing what I do. Yeah. I usually kick that off with like, do you enjoy hot showers? Basically, and they're like, well, yeah. I was like, okay, well, that means you have a hot water heater in your house. Do you know what kind it is? Usually they don't. And then I'm like, well, in the Northeast, it burns gas, and then you got to vent the carbon monoxide, and that's where we come in. I tell that narrative essentially, but it does start with like hot showers and stuff like that, because that's such a palpable, very,
everybody experiences.
Exactly, it's a very universal type of concept that gets people started on like a level playing field, and then they do understand that there is a machine out there that's making that water hot, and they don't need to know about heat exchangers and zones and valves and
fluid temperature.
Just that safe.
Watch them call it.
Zero clearance to combustibles.
Yeah, doohickeys, gizmos,
and those things.
Doodads. Yeah.
Very technical terms.
Yes.
That was a good trip.
Indeed.
We're happy to have you here, Dan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
It was so good. It was probably one of our lengthiest. I mean, we couldn't get to everything that we wanted to do and say today. It was so good and so lengthy.
Well, most people that know me, I know I can talk.
Yes, you have a gift of gab.
Yeah, that's why I wish it was an official like a Verizon printout for my MS Teams. And I think the both of you guys were we got hours and hours of chat between all three of us for sure.
Yes.
Including the other day you were talking with Karen. I needed her for something, and I jokingly was like, "Well, patch me into the call." And like 2 minutes later, I'm getting a call. I'm like in a group chat now, and Oh boy, and that's good. And then that's one of the reasons that, you know, hey, we love you, man, and we're happy to have you down here for these meetings and whatnot. I'm glad you came on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
See you, everybody.